Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2021 Toyota Camry all-wheel drive in the XLE trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 235/45 Hankook tires wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Pre-Dawn Gray Mica. It's a very interesting color, and I don't know how to describe it, so hopefully the camera is doing it justice, and also the sun is shining, so that helps a little bit. It's not a grandma gold color, I just say that. It's a different type of color. Most of the front is body colored, but it also has some, like a gloss gray here in the grille as well. And the emblem here also serves as the radar adaptive cruise control sensor. And then there's also parking sensors across the front and back. You can see them kind of like blended in, integrated well with the vehicle. There's also the 360 camera system. One of the cameras is here in the front, very front center, which is nice. All the exterior lights on this vehicle are LED. So here in the front, there's an LED projector headlight. There's also turn signals, LED, and accent lighting and daytime running lights. Daytime running lights are very bright, and they also kind of stylish because they're kind of like accent lights, but they're bright enough to be daytime running lights. I have a night video as well. You can check that out. It's a full overview of the lighting of the vehicle, inside and out, going down the road, everything, showing you what the lights look like at night. So looking here at the profile, it has body colored handles and side mirrors. This center pillar is a gloss black, so that kind of solidifies the glass, especially if you were to tint the glass. Now the entire glass portion is surrounded by a chrome strip as well, so that will also solidify the glass if you tint it. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key, so you can use this vehicle 100% just by having this with you in your pocket, in a bag. You don't have to take it out, you just keep it with you and you can use the vehicle. But it also has a lock, unlock, the ability to open up the trunk, and a panic button. Let's go ahead and push the panic button. Has a nice strong horn. Let's go ahead and open up the trunk and show you what it does. Actually opens up all the way. It's just spring loaded. It's not like powered or anything, but it does give you the ability to open up the trunk from a distance, and that way you can put stuff in. So that's really nice. So as long as you have the key with you, like I said, you can use the vehicle to lock the doors without taking the key out of your pocket. As long as the key's within a close proximity of the outside of the door, there's a little sensor indicated by these two little lines. You just put your finger, your hand, that kind of thing. It'll lock the doors. To unlock it, you simply put your hand behind the handle. There's a sensor back here, and as long as the key's on the outside of the door, it'll allow you access to the vehicle. There's also a physical key location here on the driver's side only. Here's the inside of the passenger side door. So the coloring is like different shades of gray, basically. So you have this light gray here, and then this different darker grays in here. I guess this is like a not really dark black, I guess. So it just basically looks like a variety of different grays. Now, soft touch surfaces you have here, which is soft touch, and this is like an injection molded, and then this is kind of like a vinyl material, which is soft touch, as well as this. And it's not like super soft, it bottoms out quickly, but it is a soft to the touch surface. There's the handle here is also enclosed, so you can use it as a pocket, and then you have a bottle holder and kind of a smaller pocket there in the bottom of the door. There's also a puddle light here, which is nice. This is all hard touch surface down here at the bottom, and right here as well. There's a threshold, no fancy sill plate or anything. It does have a power seat here on the passenger, and it has the ability to go up and down, and tilt and all that stuff. So some passenger seats only be able to go forward and back and tilt the back. This one has more functionality. Now these are the leather seats, not the Softex seats. And there's perforations there in the middle, smooth on the outside. And they're not overly done. They look nice, kind of classic. There is a little strip of suede right in here, but pretty conservative styling, but they are comfortable and they look good. All right, so here's the floorboard, and the floor mat's kind of like a Berber type carpet, and it does not snap in place, but it has like a little bit of a Velcro feel to the back, so it doesn't really slide around on you. Wide open space for your legroom. There's a little bit of tapering right in here, but other than that, here on the passenger side is nice. So right in here is a hard touch surface around the glove compartment, and it is a locking glove compartment, and it's flat, so you can put stuff in there, and it's really big too. And then that way it's kind of like you can stack stuff in there, you know, instead of having just like a junk drawer or like a place to just throw stuff. This, you can kind of keep it a little bit more organized. Also, I don't know if you noticed there in the very back, there's a little door. That's where the cabin filter is located. So you will have to keep your clean out the glove compartment every once in a while, because in order to get to that. Okay, so this is a soft touch. This is kind of like a vinyl material here. And then there's a wood grain, kind of more subtle wood grain right in here, with a chrome metallic accent as well, looking nice. And the dash is a soft touch, kind of rubbery soft. Nice big sunroof as well. We'll look at that later. So you notice how big the opening here is in the front. So getting in and out of the vehicle is no problem. You're not bumping your head or anything. It's just real easy to get in and out. The swing of the door is also really good. Now back here, there is considerably less room. So you can see that gets in the way. Also, the swing of the door doesn't seem like it's quite as wide. So if they were to have that door swing out a little bit more, it'd help out, because it is more limited as far as getting in and out. It's not really a big deal considering the size of the vehicle and all that stuff, but it's, you know, something to be considered. So the inside of the back door, very similar styling as the front. Got soft touch here, here, and here. The rest of the door is a hard plastic. Pockets are a little bit different, but it's just generally the same style. You can see a much smaller area here. There's a pocket on the back of both front seats, here and there. Quite a big hump in the middle. You can see that. And it does have the climate control vents here. Now this is basically a bench seat. You can fold the seats down to add to your trunk space. You will need to release the seats in the trunk in order to fold them down though. Now this folds down, and you have cup holders and armrest, and it's very soft. I wish the armrests on the doors were this soft. It also has the latch system for car seats, but it has these little covers. So, and you have to find a place for them. So, and it doesn't really look all that great when they're not there. So, not sure why they have, you know, maybe a cover that doesn't completely release when you open it, but that's just the way it is. So taking a look at the back of the vehicle, just want to point out, it may be hard, not easy to see, where the sunroof is here, and in this portion is also a gloss black. So the entire roof is a gloss black. This portion, so it kind of connects, trying to connect the glass here. So the windshield, this is not glass, but it kind of tries to kind of solidify that. Then there's a gloss black shark fin antenna there. The third brake light is here at the base of the rear glass. LED taillights, so it's a full LED system back here as well. Reverse lights, turn signals, brake lights, everything is LED, which is really nice. There's also parking sensors across the back. You can see there's one there, integrated, body colored, and all that stuff. The backup camera is under here, and it's in the very center, which is nice, right there. If you can see that, kind of in the shadows. But it is nice that it's centered. The only way you can improve this, I would say, would be have it a little bit higher and integrated with the badge or something like that. But other than that, it's fine. It's fine. The exhaust is visible. It does have a chrome exhaust tip. And this back here is a flat black. You only see that in the back of the vehicle. Now, to release the trunk, I showed you how to use the key. And since the camera is in the very center, which I prefer this method, they put the release back here in a different spot. So it's actually right here between that Y and the brake light. So right in here, you can feel it. It's like kind of like a rubbery surface. You push that and it releases. It'll go all the way up. So don't, just make sure it doesn't flip up and hit you or anything. But right there's the release. And then there's the camera, the tag lights, and then over here is a physical key location to open up the trunk. You just will have to use the physical key inside this key. But yeah, this is nice. It's kind of, if you don't know right where that release is, this can kind of like feel around for it though. So there's some carpeting on the underside of the trunk. And then you have these huge spring-loaded arms that extend down into the trunk space. So they kind of get in the way a little bit, but not too bad. The release for the seats is here and here. So you have to release them first, then go around and fold them down. But it does give you, more trunk space. But overall, most everything is covered in this carpeting. And they extend it as far as they can to the left and right. There's also the ability to hang a net pocket back here, bag holders as well. But there's a portion under here which there's exposed speakers and stuff and metal, sharp metal. It's I mean, it's not like razor sharp or anything, but if you were to stack up luggage or anything back here, then it's gonna have to, it might potentially damage it if you kind of shove it in here, So if this was carpeted, that would be a little bit better in my opinion, not having the exposed speakers and all that stuff. So this is a 60-40 split seats. Now you can see on the sides that it's not a full, it's not gonna, you're very limited on how much you can extend this trunk because of the sides that stick out so far. But you can, fold down the seats and add to your cargo space. You can also do it while maintaining some passenger space since there is that split. So under this carpet, and then there's this plastic kind of like cardboard looking thing, and then under that is your spare tire and tools, kind of neatly organized in a robust styrofoam assembly. It has a locking fuel door. So you push it, hold that, and it's on the driver's side, which is nice. It has a traditional cap, tether, and a place to hang the cap while you're pumping gas on the inside of the door. Start it up as long as you have the key inside the vehicle. It could be in your pocket, in a bag, whatever. As long as it's inside, you just press and hold the brake, push the button, start it up. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice the floor mat on this side hooks in place. So there's two places here that keeps the mat straight and from sliding around on you. The accelerator pivots here at the bottom. So there's the accelerator and brake pedal. There's also a footrest here on the left side. Pretty good size. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch a little tiny bit to the right of center. So there's the center line. It's a little bit to the right. Just reach in and lift up on it, and then you can lift the hood. The hood is not super heavy, but it does have a little weight to it. And it does require a prop to hold it up, and the prop is on the underside of the hood here. and you release it and swing it down to that arrow. The underside of the hood has some insulation. There's also a seal across the front, the sides, and the back. So there's some of them under the hood, there's some of them around the engine bay. But this helps with airflow and noise. So the battery is here on the right side. It's easy to get to. There's a brace that goes from here to this strut tower to the other one. It's kind of like hidden under there, underneath this area, but you can see it. And that makes the front end more solid. You'll see that in like race cars and stuff where they have a brace. So the top of the engine has like this foam cover. So it looks like a hard plastic, but it's actually a foam, like a really hard foam. And so this is a 4-cylinder engine, and it has, so this is the front of the engine, that's the back. The exhaust is down here, so there's some insulation and heat shielding back there. Insulated firewall. And then the intake is here. So there's fresh air goes in the engine, then the exhaust goes that way. And one of the good things about this, the way it's designed, is that if you had the exhaust in the front, it will add heat right next to the cooling system, the radiator and condenser coils. So that will kind of like conflict with what the cooling system is trying to do. So having it in the back allows it to flow the heat away from the cooling system and underneath the vehicle and away from the cabin, especially with the heat shielding. And the transmission, so this is the front of the engine, back of the engine, then transmission is down there, underneath the battery in that area. So this vehicle is powered by a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, putting out 202 horsepower at 6,600 RPMs and 182 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPMs. Now this is paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And of course is the all-wheel drive version. The blind spot detection system has the indicator here in the side mirror. This is also for the rear cross traffic alert system as well. So that'll illuminate when you have a vehicle in your blind spot, or when there's a vehicle approaching when you're backing out of a parking space. So the inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So there's the power windows. It's one touch up and down for the front and rear door. So all 4 windows are one touch up and down, and they go pretty quick. And these are, let's see right there. All right. And then, so these right here are illuminated at night. So there's little indicator lights, and I'll show you that in a night video. Door lock controls, and this is to keep the kids from unlocking the doors. You can adjust the side mirrors right here. You just pick a side and adjust it like a little joystick. So the power seat here on the driver's side is a little bit more special than the passenger side. It can still go up and tilt. It's like a dentist chair. You can go up and down, tilt it, and all that stuff. But it also has a 2-way lumbar adjustment as well, unlike the passenger side. So usually the driver's side has to one-up the passenger to some extent. To the left of the steering column, there's this little pocket right there. It's like a little tiny glove compartment. Isn't that cool? And then there's some buttons here. So it has automatic high beams. Doesn't really work super great, but it does work okay. And then you have traction control. Default will be on, but you can turn it off if you need to spin tires. This is to turn on the camera system, which is really nice and handy. This is to release the trunk, release the fuel door, and heated steering wheel as well is controlled here. So it has a little light letting you know that it is on and off, on or off. Tilt and telescoping steering column. You lock that in place here. And also right in here is the reset the trip and the brightness on the gauges here as well. Before I put the shade up, I just want to show you what the heads-up display looks like. And it's not like super sharp. It's a little blurry to my eyes, and even trying to focus the camera on it, it's a little bit blurry. But it has a lot of information. So if you're the type that want a lot of information on your heads-up display, This one certainly does that. But the issue I have with it is that you have to go into sub-menus in the car, in the system settings and all that stuff, in order to do any kind of adjustment. So brightness and all that stuff has to be adjusted before you start driving. But once you start driving, sometimes the conditions are different and you can't do any kind of micro adjustments to adjust it. So it's basically, it would be nice to make it easier to make like a brightness adjustment or something like that without having to go into these multiple sub-menus to get to the settings for it. Okay, I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out, and I have the seat all the way back and all the way down to show you what the potential legroom here is. And this is too far back. I'm 6 feet tall and I feel like a toddler here because there's so much extra legroom. So, you know, I'd definitely have to pull it up quite a bit. This right here does kind of get in the way a little bit, and this is a hard touch surface. There's a little bit more room here on the left side, which actually a lot more. But as I'm driving, it seems like this side could use a little bit more room, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, so it has a leather wrap steering wheel, heated. We saw the control over here for that. And it feels pretty good. The thickness is really good here at the bottom, but as you move up, it is basically gets thinner and less cushy. So down here is nice, and the thickness is good, and it has a little bit of a give to it. But up here, it starts to get kind of like hard as a rock and thinner. So it's kind of interesting. But overall, no problems really with the steering wheel. It's just a little bit different. Here on the right side, as far as the buttons, there's no buttons or paddle shifters or anything back here. It's all here on the front. So you can see this portion and this portion are connected. We'll get to that in just a minute, but this upper portion is the cruise control. So you can turn it on, resume, cancel, and set it here. And this is also the adaptive cruise control. So you can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. You also have the lane tracing assist system, which you can turn on right there. All right, so let's go ahead and check these buttons out. So this is the volume for your radio, voice recognition, mode, which is your audio source, and then changing through your tracks or your radio stations depending on what you're playing here. So these are kind of like your radio buttons. Right here, this OK arrows back button corresponds with the screen between the gauges. We'll get to that in just a minute. But this button is your Bluetooth answer and hang up button. So if you want to answer a call, you can push that and push it again to hang up. The windshield wiper controls are here on the right side. And on the left side is your turn signal indicator, but also it has your headlight switch. And this is where you'll find the DRL off position down here. And it turns off all the exterior lights. You can check that out in my night video. Automatic, parking lights, and headlights. Here's what the gauges looks like. And there's a physical gauge here on the left side. Is your tachometer, RPM gauge, engine coolant temperature. On the right side is another physical gauge. So this will be your speedometer and then your fuel gauge. In the center is a screen. So this is all digitally represented stuff here. And the physical gauges, they have a black background, white lettering. They're very easy to see and focus on. The center screen, most everything is fine. It has a nice big digital speedometer there, digital clock, what gear you're in, and your odometer, outside temperature, stuff like that. But if we use these buttons here, remember those, the back button, OK, and the arrows. Let's go ahead and, so you can see these little icons right here. If I scroll down, I'm just going to scroll through them real fast. So you can see this is part of a full menu system, the digital speedometer is. So if we start here at the top, it's a little leaf right there. So if we scroll to the right in that icon, it will give us our fuel economy information and you know, distance to empty, that kind of stuff. Also, there's a little eco mode, eco indicator there as we're driving. It'll let us know if we're driving, you know, in that eco zone. And then that's your digital speedometer. Scrolling down, so this will be our driving support, safety systems, that kind of stuff. So this will show the adaptive cruise control bars, also your lane keep assist, lane tracing assist, stuff like that. Whether it can see the lines or not is important, whether the system's working. So sometimes it's not working depending on the lines on the road. Scrolling, also there's a digital compass here as well. Scrolling down again, you notice that the digital speedometer is smaller there off to the right during some of these screens. So this is just showing you whatever your radio is doing. This one will be shows your tire pressure, but if you scroll to the right, it also shows the status of some of the safety systems. So the next one down is your settings. So this is where you can go in and turn on or off certain features. Blind spot monitor system, you notice it's off, we can turn it on. Rear cross traffic alert is on. And then let's go over here to the HUD. So this is the heads-up display. Remember I was talking about that. So in order to adjust something, you notice I got to scroll all the way down the settings, then scroll down all the way to the right to the HUD, and then press and hold the on or off button. Now I can go in here and I can adjust the brightness. I can also adjust whatever's on the screen and the rotation of it as well. I notice when we go up and down, adjust the height, the rotation looks a little bit off, so I have to adjust that as well. The main thing, while I'm driving, I would like to be able to adjust the brightness and the height. You know, sometimes it's a little bit of a pain. Have to wait till I stop somewhere or make a special stop just to adjust it, or at least just turn it off until I have time to, you know, get it just right. Because, you know, when you have a bright light in your face, especially at nighttime, sometimes it's a little bit distracting, and you want to, you know, contend with that. You want to deal with that, you know, as soon as you can. You don't have to wait till you're at the end of your trip and it's like, you know, it's kind of like too late. It's really is an issue for me, having heads-up displays adjustments deep in a menu like this. Alright, scrolling down again will take us back to the original icon. So we scrolled all the way down, now we're back here to the digital speedometer, which will be my default. Okay, so here's another screen. So this is your touch screen. It also has physical buttons on the outside, kind of quick access buttons. There's a physical volume knob tuned through the stations. It's very traditional. So this is the home screen. This is the home button. So if at any time you can go back to this home screen, it's basically a split between your phone. Accidentally, if you put your finger too close to the screen, it senses it. But audio, your phone, and in this case the map. So let's go ahead and go to this next one, which is the menu, and this is where you find these icons. You can put in a destination, you can go to your audio, your phone, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto capable vehicle, to which this projection is alluding to. Once you plug in your device, you'll be able to do that. Your settings and info about the vehicle. So let's start off, since this is typically associated with the radio or audio. We can show you the screen here. So we have different audio sources here: AM, FM, satellite radio, USB, and Bluetooth. Just kind of show you what the radio looks like. So it has presets there at the bottom. It does have album art and, you know, basic information here. So destination, we could do a search, have favorites, we can save addresses, that kind of stuff. We can also view the map, get our bearings if we want to. Zoom in and out. Has the ability to pinch zoom as well, so you don't always have to push the plus and minus. Phone, once you pair your phone, you'll have access to recent calls, phone book, the whole thing, and that way you can you know, send and receive calls without, you know, taking your hands off the wheel, basically using the voice recognition system. So this apps right here, so this will be your apps for your phone. So once you have to install the Intune app on your phone, and then you can have more capability and functionality if you want to do that. So you can have like a Wi-Fi hotspot, that kind of thing. All right, so the info, this will be about your vehicle, so you can have showing you what's going on as far as your fuel economy, how you've been doing as far as driving, that kind of thing. And then setup, most of this you want to go ahead and set up when you first get the vehicle, and then you don't have to worry about it so much. You can add phones, you can add multiple phones, and it will be like a priority system. So you know, you can have one priority over the other if you have both of them in the car at the same time, that kind of thing. You can adjust the audio. It actually has a pretty decent radio. This has the JBL sound system. It sounds pretty good. It's above average for sure. And phone access here. Navigation, Wi-Fi, apps, traffic, all kinds of different information here in the settings. And you can see the physical buttons here. There's the audio, so it takes you to the audio screen. Map, it takes you to the map. Up here, seek, track, so you can change the basically the same thing as this knob. Your whatever you're playing, whether it be off of whatever device it is, you can change to the next track there. Phone, and then apps. So the physical buttons are a little level of redundancy in order to make it more convenient to go to particular locations without going, you know, in and out of certain screens. All right, so down here there's the four-way flashers. It has a dual zone climate control, so the driver and passenger, you can sync those here by pushing that button here. You can push the button again to unsync it, or you can just simply start turning the passenger side knob and it'll be disconnected as far as the temperature. Fan speed, where you want the air to blow, air conditioning, just basic buttons. It has the front and rear defrosters as well. And when you put the rear defroster on, it'll also turn on the heated side mirrors as well. And recirculate the air as well. And it kind of gives you some information here, what's going on, your fan speed, your temperature, real basic, where the air is blowing, that kind of stuff. Now you notice that the design of the vehicle, it has like this line of balance, which is pretty cool. The only issue I have is that this right here gets in the way a lot. So I don't know if this is just for looks, or what the purpose of this big thing is, because it blocks access to the passenger to reach in this area. Also, the driver is kind of have to, you know, it's just a little bit in the way. It's just basic, you know, using this area is a little bit limited because of that. And right in here is there is a USB 12-volt power supply, wireless charger. So right here, there's a little pad right here. You can see that. There we go. All right, so it's a wireless charger. You can turn that feature on or off, and you can just lay your phone there. This moves back, and then there's this storage pocket. Now, like I said, you know, the limitation, I'm kind of having to dodge the shifter, the steering wheel, and this in order to get to that location where all the stuff is, right? And also there's not very good lighting. You'll see in my night video, there's certain places in here that are problematic as far as the lighting. And some places are great. So, but having this cover up and block the light from getting in there is just another issue. Okay, so here's some cup holders. It's open here in the middle all the way down, so you can utilize the space for more than just cups. And it also has these little articulating arms that take up the slack. So when you put a bottle in here, it's not bouncing around so much. So I'm really glad that they do that. Here's the shifter. And nice feeling, classic looking shifters, nice. And let's go ahead and put it in reverse, because this has a really nice camera system. So two things will happen when you put it in reverse. One, in the back, the camera system will turn on, but also your parking sensors will be activated. So, and you actually give information here on the screen and here. If you get close to something, it'll beep and it'll give you a little visual on where that object is. It could be in the front, the back, you know, wherever, and it'll tell you which side it is and everything. So it's great. So the camera, it has a top-down view, and it uses cameras on both side mirrors, for one in the front, one in the back as well. So there's 4 mirrors. It stitches that view together and gives you a top-down view. So you can see that the parking place spot lines are completely straight. So all that stitching is done pretty well. Now, it's from the side mirrors down. Everything above that's going to be all stretched out or not even visible potentially. So that's where this camera comes in. So you can see from the bumper all the way to the sky and all the way around. You have different views. So we can focus, we have this top-down view. We can focus on just the back in a really wide, stretched out. We can see if cars are coming from either side and all that stuff. The next view is a more linear view of the back. All right, now if I put it in park and I push the camera button we saw to the left of the steering wheel, it's going to do this number. It's going to give us a visual around the vehicle. Now the vehicle itself is, you know, not real, but it's not, but it gives you an idea of what the car looks like and what's around it. Now you can push this button and do that again. You can pause it or whatever. You can have it like your car is invisible and look around like that. It's pretty neat. Now if I put it in drive, it's going to give me the view from the top down and then the front view. And it has this shadow to kind of cover up where you're actually going, so it keeps people from being tempted to drive by looking at the camera. I guess some people want to do that. But it's mostly just so you can see what's right directly in front of the vehicle. This helps out with not hitting a curb and lining up in parking spots. It also has, this is the best feature right here, automatic. And what happens is when you have that turned on, when you slow down and you get really slow, whether you be stopping at a stop sign, red light, parking space, whatever, drive through, that kind of thing, ATM machine, when you're driving really slow, it automatically pops the screen up. So all you have to do is just quickly glance at the screen and the camera's already there, so you can see what's going on, whether you're lined up, how close you are to the curb or wherever it is. It's really nice, that automatic feature. I wish more vehicles have that, because that's just fantastic. So these is little, since this is a stretched out view, it has these little guidelines here as well. And you can turn those, not only the guidelines of how wide the vehicle is, but also active guidelines as far as the way you turn the steering wheel. So let's go ahead and put it back in reverse. When I turn the steering wheel, so you can see these lines, even the front wheel, it shows where it's going to be. So the curvature of the vehicle. So as I turn it the other way, you can see it goes the other way. So this is handy, you know, just a kind of like a quick reference to see what's going on and to remind you as you're driving. It also has the manual mode. So there's drive, sport mode, and then you can change through the gears manually like a ratchet shifter by bumping it forward and back. And you'll know what gear you're in because it'll show right here. At any time you just bump it to the right, back in drive, it'll go back in drive and start changing gears for you. So here is your drive modes. So it has Eco, Normal, and Sport. So Eco turns these little green. So you got Normal, green, and then Sport turns it red. That's about all that does. When you're driving, basically the Sport keeps the RPMs in the power band, the most powerful portion of the RPM range. Normal is kind of like a blend. Eco just kind of limits your air conditioning. It limits a lot of things to try to save gas. It limits your power. It keeps your shift points low, that kind of thing. And this is not a very powerful vehicle. So, you know, when you're driving in any of these drive modes, you're not going to get an exceptional amount of speed out of the vehicle. It's just a normal driving vehicle. Okay, so this is the brake hold feature. When you have this enabled, it will allow you to, when you come to a complete stop, let your foot off the brake, and it holds the brake for you. So you're sitting at a stoplight or your stop sign or whatever, to hold the vehicle for you until you push the accelerator, and then it'll release it. Electronic parking brake, and this has an automatic function to where it just automatically, when you put the vehicle in park, it enables. To release it, you hold the brake, push it down, and it engages the rear wheels, and it gives you a little indicator light that it's active. Over here is the heated and vented seat controls. So it's a 3-stage for the driver and passenger. Same thing with the heat. Alright, so here's the armrest, and it's a little bit soft. I mean, it's kind of like a Nerf soft on top, but it bottoms out quickly after just, you know, 4 or 5 millimeters. It's like this hard surface underneath. And it feels kind of like thin, and I don't know, it kind of feels like it's not super durable. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just the way it feels. Alright, so let's lift this up. And when you lift it up, if you let go of it, it kind of slaps back down. Even if you lift it up pretty high, it comes right back down. You do have to go all the way back. And if it's just a little bit forward, it'll come all the way back down. So it has to be in this all the way back position, and then you make sure you don't touch it so it doesn't slam on you. And then you can have access to this compartment, which has no illumination in it, by the way. It's kind of like the junk drawer of the vehicle. You also have a USB and a USB-C charge ports. And there's a little bit of space here in the front to allow for wires to go in and out. It's just kind of happens to be that space there. The rear view mirror is an auto dim rear view mirror. It doesn't really auto dim a huge amount. It's actually auto dimming now because they have the shade over the light sensor. But at nighttime, if somebody's got their high beams on, you're still going to get blinded. I mean, it doesn't dim it enough for my liking anyway. You can turn that feature off if you want, if you need to, right there. And then you have your home link garage door opener controls here as well. All right, so this is for your shade for the sunroof, and that's to move the sunroof. The lighting, I'll show you that in a minute. It also has a roadside assistance emergency button there. So you have little tap lights, LED, interior lights. You can have them turn on with the door or not. So the visor has a mirror with a light as well. And this is like a cloth material. Has an extension. So this extension slides out. The entire visor does not slide, but it does have this extension here, which adds to your coverage instead of just shifting it. So that's nice. Okay, before I forget, I've done that before. Let's look at the sunroof. So this has this huge sunroof. It goes all the way back. And let's go ahead and move the shade. It's quite fast. The back portion is fixed. The front portion tilts and slides. So let's go ahead and tilt it up. So you can see what that looks like. Tilt it down and then move it back. Push it again, nothing happens. So that's as far back as it goes. You notice it's like halfway, basically. All right, and of course, the shade is good because it covers 100% of the light. Some vehicles just kind of like have a shade that doesn't cover 100%. You can still have some light shining through. So I like the fact that it's just completely solid, blocking the sun. Okay, so let's look at the visibility in the back. So the headrests are not a huge deal. The pillars are not a huge deal. I guess, yeah, I mean, the headrests do kind of get in the way, but they're not terrible. depending on your passengers, of course, too. Now it does have the nice camera system, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system, and you know, a lot of features to help out with driving the vehicle, so blind spot becomes less of an issue. The parking sensors are really nice as well. Okay, so there you have it. Thank you for watching, and check out the night video on this vehicle. You can see the pluses and minuses is at nighttime, which is a big deal to me. If you drive at night at all, and you know, when you buy a vehicle at a dealership, you don't necessarily have an access to it at nighttime to see what the lights look like. So I have night videos on a lot of vehicles, so you can check those out, including this one. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.